Mary disappeared on March 28, 2020, the day North Carolina's governor issued a COVID stay-at-home order that led to the shutdown, so the story received little attention. Who was Mary Collins? Mary Santina Collins was born on July 6, 1981, to Cassie Del Piso. At the age of 20, everyone who spoke of Mary described her as kind and generous. She described her elementary school principal, Carolyn Horn, as innocent and said she always wanted to hug her in the hall. People also used the words nice and weak to define her. She had a radiant aura about her, Mary Cara Williams told WCNC News. She was lovable and funny. Mary was raised by her grandmother, Mia Alderman, as her own daughter, giving her a stable environment for success that her mother could not provide. Mary had a large family consisting of aunts, relatives and siblings, all of whom protected and loved her. She was such a nice person that she expected everyone to be like that, so she was very vulnerable and easy to manipulate, Cara told WCNC. Mary Collins was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder when she was 3 years old. At the age of 3, Mary was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder called velocardiofacial syndrome, which created some difficulties for her. This disorder can cause learning difficulties, delayed development, skeletal deformities, immune deficiency, and neurological and psychological problems. Mary had a severe speech defect and a mental disorder equivalent to the age of 15 years. It was difficult for her to count money or navigate her neighborhood. She was also born with a thick palate and did not speak until she was 6 years old, and her speech was difficult to understand. However, by her teenage years, she could talk to anyone but could not make loud noises or scream. Mary loved to cook, listen to music, and do photo shoots showing off her exceptional beauty with dramatic makeup and different hair colors. High school was a reasonably good experience for Mary. She went out with a small group of girls and was not overly persecuted. She went out with some boys, but they were normal, short-term teenage relationships. One of these boys was Levi Pham. The two were doing everyday teenage activities like listening to music, eating sushi, and spending time with family. However, the relationship did not last long, and there were no hard feelings after the breakup. Marie and Levi continued their friendship. After high school, Mary's list of friends shrank. Where people were heading to college, working, and preparing for adulthood, Mary was still in the mind of a 15-year-old, and was not prepared for the changes in life. Since Mary's entire family was very protective of her, it was especially disturbing when a young girl named Kelly Lavery made herself a target and began bullying her via social media. Kelly was posting comments like, "Oh, no one will want you, if I were you, I would want to disappear as quickly as possible," or "You're ridiculous." Kelly would verbally abuse Mary, then apologize and pretend to be her friend. Because Mary was quick to forgive, she believed that Kelly was being honest. Kelly began living with Mary's ex-boyfriend, Lavi, and continued to manipulate Mary's feelings. Even Lavi got involved too. Mary's family could see all of Mary's social media activity, and they concluded that Kelly had serious mental health issues. They tried to warn Mary that Kelly was not her friend. Mary was already unsure of her speech disorder, and the last thing her family wanted was to see her suffer at the hands of Kelly. Who is Kelly Lavery? Kelly Lavery was born to Patrick and Karen Lavery and has lived a privileged life. Her father is a master engineer in a prestigious and lucrative position, and Daddy gives Kelly everything she wants. Kelly grew up in a $1 million home at 1047, Rolling Park Road in Fort Mill, South Carolina. She was known for teasing other girls, and Mary was no exception. According to Annie Elise, host of the YouTube channel Law and Crime Network, Kelly was writing to Mary in response that she was jealous of her. "I'm not jealous, you're really stupid. I graduated with a 4.0, so I don't think so. I live without paying rent. No bills. My whole life is served to me on a diamond-studded platter, so I don't think so, baby." Mary asked Kelly why she was so hard on her, and Kelly replied, "Would you like to know why this doesn't matter to me? My father is a millionaire. I can have a bad personality. Do your parents have private wealth? Does your father earn an annual income of $700,000? I can deal with people any way I want. Kelly was a very spoiled person, it showed in other people's faces. Mary's disappearance. Mary left her home at 2:30 p.m. on March 28, 2020, and was last seen walking along Burnley Road in Charlotte, North Carolina. Her alleged friends Kelly and Levy sent an Uber driver to come and take her to their luxury apartment in the North Davidson area, NODA. After learning of Mary's problems with Kelly, her grandmother and her family insisted that she stay home that day. However, with a view to encouraging her independence, they agreed, and Mary went. Mary's grandmother, Mia, did not hear from Mary after she sent her several text messages and began to worry. The next day, on March 29, Mia tracked Mary's phone to Kelly and Levy's apartment and moved in. Upon arriving, Mia knocked on the door several times and got no response. Finally, she started screaming, "I think I'm going to have to call the police." Kelly answered the door and told Mia that Mary had left. Mia asked to scout the apartment, and Kelly hesitantly agreed but would not let Mia into the master bedroom. Kelly told her there were friends in the room and accused Mia of making them panic. Mia begged Kelly to tell her where her daughter was, and Kelly replied, "I never care about Mary." Tearfully, Mia asked if Lavi was in the master bedroom, and Kelly reluctantly went to get him. Lavi came out, and Mia started asking him where Mary was. Kelly, who was completely in control of the situation, wouldn't let him answer questions. It was then when Mia saw Kelly holding a hammer in her hand. Then Kelly started talking sweetly about Mary and said she would help her look for her. Mia left and began searching the apartment complex and neighborhood. Mia filed a missing person report with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department at 11 p.m. on March 31. She told investigators that Mary had a mental disability, but she did not feel the police department was taking it seriously. Mary's mother made flyers, and the family posted them around town. First, police went to Kelly's apartment. When they didn't receive an answer, they left. Mia was not satisfied that the authorities had not spoken to anyone in the apartment yet, so she decided to return. She called the apartment manager, who agreed to view surveillance footage later that day. Detective Jonathan Gaskin told her he could not return to the apartment that day and recommended that Mia call the police again to request that management come out if she felt Mary's life was in danger. Gaskin said he could work the case remotely and that going to the apartment was unnecessary. That was Mia's first big disappointment. Mia informed Gaskin that the director had surveillance recordings, and he responded, "That's good." But the investigator did not personally go to view the recordings. Feeling like she wasn't making any progress with Gaskin, Mia called the police again. Mary's mother met Mia at the apartment, and they waited for the police to arrive. When the officer arrived, he knocked on the door, and Lavi answered but refused the officer entry. Instead, Lavi let Cassie in. This time, she was let into the master bedroom at the back, and she saw someone sleeping on the bed. Lavi told her it was Kelly. Cassie left without getting any closer to finding her daughter. The officer called the office manager and told him he was not allowed to view the surveillance recordings. And that he needed to obtain a search warrant to view the tape, which was not true and proved to be one of the major mistakes made by the police department during the investigation of this case. By the time police wanted to view the recordings, they had been deleted just an hour before the request. Such a mistake by the police department left Mary's family feeling disappointed and frustrated, so they organized search teams, conducted a special investigation through social media, and questioned anyone who wanted to talk to them. They even took patrols outside Kelly's apartment to make sure no one let anything slip. During the family's social media investigation, they saw a photo posted of Lavi and another unidentified man holding a knife in his hand. They discovered that he was James "Jimmy" Salerno and he was in the apartment at the same time as Mary. The family continued to search using hounds and drones for any sign of Mary. Despite their efforts, they felt Mary never left the apartment. Later, Mia got permission from apartment management to bring hounds to Kelly's apartment to search, but they told her they needed to sign consent from lead investigator Gaskin, who did not return their call. So they missed the opportunity. 7 days passed before the Mecklenburg-Charlotte Police Department began seriously looking into the case. The former homicide detective contacted the police department to inquire about Mary's case, and they told him that they had received an anonymous tip that Mary had previously disappeared. This is why they treat the issue with low priority. We can imagine who made that anonymous call. Then the police department received a tip from an eyewitness who said that James, Jimmy, Salerno, age 20, Levy Pham, age 21, and Kelly Lavery, age 24, were having a party at their apartment where Levy and Kelly he tied Mary up and beat her in the bathtub. The witness tells police that Jimmy was bragging about hiding her body in the bed and how they planned to burn her. Missing persons investigators visited Kelly and Laffey's apartment on April 2, 2020, where Mary had gone, and Laffey said he agreed to let them conduct a search. Because the search was consented, police were restricted in what they could touch and do. However, it appears that investigators looked under the mattress without realizing that Mary's little body was inside. Another witness told police that Laffey was trying to pay someone $4,000 to remove something from the apartment. The witness also said that another young woman named America Dale was a suspect. The witness said Jimmy arranged for them all to meet at Kelly's apartment when Kelly and Levy began hitting Mary in the head with a bottle while Mary was in the bathtub bleeding. The police then obtained a search warrant. This time they found Mary's body in bed. No one was able to prepare for what they had just seen. Mary's body was very well hidden, Detective Brian Cram told WCNC News in an interview. When we went in with a search warrant, it wasn't clear until we started searching more carefully. Investigators had to open the bed to find Mary. Investigators also found a bloody knife in the corner of the room and Mary's ID and bank card lying on a table. In the master bathroom, they found a serrated knife in the drain. Luminol revealed blood on the bathroom carpet and shower curtain. The luminol shined onto the bathtub and drainer which revealed massive blood stains. Note asterisk. Luminol detects the presence of blood even after wiping it from the floors. On April 5, 2020, police arrested Kelly and Levy at the apartment. According to Nightlab.com, Kelly allegedly blacked out, and police woke her up to arrest her. Jimmy was arrested at his residence in the University District of Charlotte. In June, America Dale, who had fled to Colorado, was arrested by police and returned to North Carolina. They were both questioned and each tried to blame the other for what happened. During questioning, the detective noticed that Laffey had a cut on his arm. Levy told the investigator that he cut him while playing with the knife. When investigators began asking more specific questions about what happened to Mary, Laffey began seeing an attorney. Kelly was subsequently questioned. She said she spent time with Mary until she left her apartment for a photo shoot. When asked point-blank about what happened, she also asked for a lawyer. Jimmy accused Kelly, Laffey, and America of the accusation, as America had just started dating Jimmy and barely knew Kelly and Laffey. When questioned, America explained that she only met Jamie on Tinder and spent a week with Levy and Kelly before Mary's death. She said that Jimmy called her and asked her to come over because a strange girl was at the apartment. She said that when she arrived at the apartment, Kelly, Levy and Jamie were all using drugs. She told investigators that Kelly and Levy suggested a threesome to Mary, but she refused. Then they asked America, and she allegedly refused as well and went to sleep. America also claimed that she woke up around 7 a.m. to take her mother to work and returned to the apartment. When she returned to Kelly's house, Jimmy took her into the bedroom and opened the bathroom door, which was completely covered in blood, and she was astonished to see Mary in the bathtub. Laffey and Jimmy gave America money and told her to go to the store to buy cleaning supplies and bleach. When they returned, America said Kelly held a knife to her neck and forced her to tightly wrap Mary's body and clean up the scene. I noticed that Laffey and Jimmy were laughing and talking about the terrible things they did to Mary. After they sexually assaulted Mary, America said they left her to bleed to death from a neck wound and made her watch Laffey and Kelly have sex. The only thing consistent in all of their testimony was that Kelly was the ringleader and had committed the violent stabbing. According to America, Kelly became hysterical and wouldn't stop stabbing Mary and accidentally cut Laffey's arm with the knife. The constant question is why. Despite information obtained from interviews of the 4 guilty persons, the police were no closer to an answer. Police charged Kelly, Levy, and Jimmy with kidnapping, murder, and concealment of a body. America was charged as an accessory after the crime and the body was hidden. The night of the crime. According to her family, Kelly, now 24, and Lavy bought sushi for Mary in the hours before the murder. They posted a video of the 3 of them together to make it look like Mary was fine and was just spending time with her friends. Lavy posted a video of the 3 having fun on his Twitter account. Her family believes he did it to make it seem like Mary was feeling well and was meeting up with her friends. Cops believe Kelly, Levy and Jamie brutally attacked Mary and stabbed her more than 133 times. The cops found text messages between Levy and Kelly while Mary was there. The messages were that Lafy started giving Mary drugs after they ate sushi. He used Xanax and Molly. In one message from Levy to Kelly, he said, "I gave her another dose without her knowing." During that time, Levy also sent Jimmy text messages explaining what he was doing. Mary was the only person who didn't know what was happening. In the report, it is stated that Mary died as a result of multiple cuts and stab wounds to the neck, torso, head and limbs. She suffered 133 incision wounds and 24 stab wounds, none of which were sufficient to kill Mary but were done to torture her. There were also injuries by indirect means, as well as multiple bruises to the face. Mary had also been subjected to a violent sexual assault. According to the Law and Crime Network, semen from 2 male individuals was found on her body. Due to contamination and decomposition when the killers attempted to clean up the scene after the crime, it was unknown whose DNA it was. They wrapped Mary's entire body in black garbage bags with silver duct tape covering most of her body. What the report said was that they found a black t-shirt and socks wrapped around her neck and a red t-shirt around her ankles. It is believed that these items are placed in those locations on the body to absorb blood. The report also showed that Mary was doused with dish detergent and pumpkin-flavored shower gel to cover up her body odor. After wrapping her up, they hid her body inside a mattress. The analysis concluded that America's fingerprints matched the inside of the garbage bags used to hide Mary's body. During America's bail hearing, her lawyers argued that she should be released, claiming that America was coerced into helping and Kelly was the one taking orders. According to America, Kelly was the ringleader and was giving orders to everyone while cleaning. Despite the family's wishes, prosecutors took a plea deal with Kelly. She pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, kidnapping and concealment of a body and was sentenced to only 25 to 30 years in prison. When Mary's Aunt Cara spoke of the tragedy of her precious niece's death, she was at a loss for words to describe the extent of the evil she had experienced. Cara told WCNC's Charlotte Michelle Bowden, "I think they are evil. They tortured her. They stabbed her more than 100 times, then hid her body in a bed. To know that this happened to Mary, who I only knew was so excited to meet some friends, and I can't imagine when they started turning on her, the fear and confusion she felt, and then to think about what she went through, it's so horrific." Cara says the hardest thing was the thought of how they tortured Mary and how she couldn't help the pain Mary felt. "It's not something you forget, and time won't heal, and you won't get over it," Cara says. "It stays with you, and the imaginary images of what happened stay with you." Cara and Mary's grandmother now suffer from PTSD and say it affects every aspect of their lives. They can't even watch the news for fear of seeing reports of other murders that trigger their symptoms. "That I cannot imagine Mary being killed, and her killer being only 25 years old," Mia said. Mary deserved more than that. Pending trial dates to be set, the remaining defendants are waiting, and Jimmy and America are out on bail. Because trials in North Carolina have been postponed, they may be required to wait years to be sentenced. Meanwhile, Mary's family founded a non-profit organization called Mary's Voice to raise awareness of Mary's case, highlight flaws in the death penalty, create additional national alert for missing persons with disabilities, and improve police response. Her grandmother said, the criminal justice system failed to protect Mary and her family from the day she disappeared. Now, we just hope the jurors see these monsters for what they are and get life in prison and nothing less.